What's up, everybody? Brett Mix here for the Monday Night Wars. This is the 206th episode of Raw in its history, week 78. The ratings for this Raw were a 2.2 and a 3.5 for Nitro. WCW Nitro wins for the 41st week in a row. So now after this week's loss, the total scoreboard for the WWF is 17 wins during the Monday Night Wars, 59 losses, and 2 draws. It was on Monday night from April the 14th, 1997 on the USA Network from Johannesburg, South Africa, and then from the States in the other part of the view, other show. Half the show was from the States, half the show was from Johannesburg, South Africa. And this Raw that lost to the week with a 2.2 rating came from, it was almost like a simulcast, as I said, half from the States, half from South Africa. We open up with pyro everywhere, and the show, the LOD come to the ring in the States. Vince is live with Jim Cornette from the States, while Jim Ross is doing the show from South America with the Honky Tonk Man. So those are the two commentary tandems. The King has taken the last couple of weeks off. This is the go-home show to In Your House Revenge of the Taker, the April 1997 pay-per-view from the World Wrestling Federation. To open the show, we got the Godwins, Phineas I and Henry O taking on the Legion of Doom, Road Warrior Animal, and Road Warrior Hawk. The rivalry started last week when the Godwins inadvertently slopped the LOD when they went to pour the buckets on the Bulldog and Owen. They ducked and ended up slopping the Road Warriors instead. Thus, we have a bad blood and now a match. Road Warrior Animal and Hawk go at it with a slugfest. Phineas with a reverse elbow to Hawk, but he gets right back up. A pile driver, then Hawk, but he stands right back up, no selling the move. Animal's tagged in, and now Animal takes it to Phineas, who takes in Henry O. Henry O and Animal get into a slugfest. Off the ropes, a shoulder block by Animal as the fans cheer. Phineas back in with a jawbreaker to Animal. Hawk comes back in, and Phineas spits and rubs his hands with the spit. Hawk does the same, but then wipes his hands on Phineas to get a good laugh from the crowd. Phineas goes for a superplex, but Hawk no-sells the move and hits a vertical suplex himself. A lariat from the ropes, Phineas trying to ground Hawk, but then he runs into a reverse elbow by Hawk. Animal gets the hot tag and takes it to both Godwins. Bulldog and Owen come to the ring with their titles. Bulldog hits Animal with the belt. The ref didn't see it, and Henry Godwin beat Animal with the strap after he was hit with the strap. So the Godwins win this match thanks to Bulldog and Owen, who screwed the LOD out of the match. The LOD will challenge Bulldog and Owen In Your House for the tag titles. So this was the Bulldog and Owen's one last number on the LOD. Next up, Hunter Hearst Helmsley with China takes on Jesse James. This is from South Africa, and the feed seems to lose some audio reception, as you can't hear both Jim Ross or Honky Tonk Man for periods of time, but then you do for periods of time, and then it cuts in and out. Jesse James in trouble early with the ways of the Hunter Hearst Helmsley with a headlock. He comes off with a couple of moves. China looks pissed off on the outside, and it's so silent without commentary. Honky Tonk Man comes back with audio finally. Honky Tonk Man goes up to the ring and grabs the leg of Jesse James, who turns around into a pedigree. Helmsley wins with the pedigree at 14:52. Jesse James says he'll beat Honky Tonk's protege at Revenge of the Taker, who ends up being Road Dogg's future partner, Billy Gunn, who is going to be Rockabilly. That's who he faces at In Your House. But we don't find that out until In Your House, but that's just a spoiler. The match, I gave it a star. Savio Vega with Crush took on Rocky Maivia. These guys are going to meet for the IC title at In Your House Revenge of the Taker, so this is a preview of that. This is also from South Africa. McMahon joins in on commentary as he talks to JR and Honky Tonk back and forth. Maivia with an armbar, then cornered Savio. McMahon's audio comes and goes as well, and the reception, even the picture, isn't even that good. This show really was the shits in so many ways. I can't describe it any better than that. It's very distracting from the actual in-ring product. The way the commentary would come in and out, and the visual reception was just as bad. Not as bad as the audio reception, but it was close. The Hitman wanted Savio to beat Rocky badly, and he wasn't alone. I say the Hitman, I meant the Honky Tonk Man. Rock hit an impressive DDT, then a kip up. Rock went for the crossbody up top, and then he tries the shoulder breaker, which was his finisher. But Vega rolled up backwards, and he held the tights, so Savio beat the champion at 17:35, rated a 1.5 stars. Ahmed runs out with the 2x4 as the Nation were attacking Rocky Maivia after the match, so Ahmed got even with the 2x4. Austin does an in-ring promo with Vince McMahon back from the States. This is one of the only good things on the show. McMahon says you can't hold talent down. Cream will always rise to the top. He's speaking about Austin's popularity. Austin says Brett, you can say what you want, but he's going to whoop his ass, basically, at In Your House. One of the many inside the ring promos we get from Vince and Austin, but I do believe this was the first in 1997 between the two. They would go do it in a rivalry way later in the year, but that's not what we got out of this one. Goldust takes on the Sultan from South Africa with the Iron Sheik. The Sultan and Goldust went at it, back and forth. Crowd was behind Goldust. They had a Goldust chant at one point. He had a running bulldog on the Sultan, but then Triple H interfered. Goldust wins by DQ after Helmsley and Chyna both attacked Goldust in the ring. As the bell rang, I gave it a 1.25 stars. Sultan pile-drove Goldust after the match to the canvas. Bret Hart then cuts a promo about being a hero in South Africa because the American wrestling fans don't understand what's right and don't understand what's wrong. People in America don't understand values anymore. And they cheer people like Shawn Michaels, and who's a hypocrite and a liar, or people like Steve Austin, who's a bully and a tyrant, the scum of the earth. Bret Hart says Austin will find out once again that he's not good enough. Bret and Austin really did wrestle all over the world. We heard that at Stone Cold saying that about Bret Hart in his induction ceremony, the Hall of Fame, and it's true. You look at all the countries Bret and Austin wrestled in. They even in 1996 they wrestled overseas, so. They really did get it on in a lot of different countries. Mankind and Vader with Paul Bearer took on the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher. They called them at the time Mosh and Thrash, so they eventually changed Thrasher's name from Thrash to Thrasher. Mankind and Vader. My apologies to Sonny. In a review I did a couple weeks ago, I said Sonny got the name wrong, called him Thrash, but I forgot that Thrasher was originally Thrash. It was originally Mosh and Thrash. So I ripped Sonny for that in the previous review, so I apologize for that. Like Tammy Sitch is watching these reviews, but I think she's in jail if I'm not mistaken. A clothesline to the floor, and the Mosh and Thrash get it on with Vader. A lot of good wrestling in this. Good wrestling in the form of slugfest, not actual wrestling. Good brawling. Vader and Mankind won by DQ at 5:45 after Mankind gives Vader the mandible claw after he was the Thrash threw something in his face and he wasn't able to see, so he was visually impaired, and then he threw a mandible claw on his own partner, Vader, after the match. Then the lights flickered and the Undertaker cut a promo saying that he's going to make Mankind burn in hell, not rest in peace, for this Sunday's In Your House Revenge of the Taker WWF title match. Ross and the Honky Tonk Man go all about pay-per-view. They advertise every match. Then we have the main event from South Africa, Ahmed Johnson versus Crush with Farouk. The commentary goes in and out. This wasn't very good. Ahmed Johnson and Crush were painful to watch. At 11:30, the victory goes to Ahmed Johnson after he gets an inside cradle with a victory. I thought this was worse, that this was the main event. That was the most depressing part of this. The fans should have just tuned into Nitro. They went up against Kevin Nash versus Lex Luger in a main event. This did. WCW Nitro was a great Nitro this week, so it had the fans tuning in to even more. I believe Nitro got a 3.7 to Raw's 2.2 this week. Crush is dull in the ring, and Ahmed only has 2 power moves. So at 11:30, again, he won the match. I rated it at 1/4 stars. After the match, the Nation go on, and Farouk says he will relinquish the Nation if Ahmed's able to beat him this Sunday. So to close the show, that's what we get. I gave this episode a 2 out of 10 because it was brutal in almost every way possible. Audio, visual. There was a decent Austin interview from the States and a decent Bret promo overseas. The audio didn't line up. The show was the shits, and it literally couldn't have come off worse than it did. But this was an anomaly for this period of time, as Though the ratings and the buy rates were poor, the Raw quality actually does get better from this point on. But this show, not so much. Skip this show by all means if you're rewatching the Raws. There's nothing to see here other than a decent Austin promo. I'm Brett Mix, and I'll see you next time. Hit like and subscribe, and I'm out.